on social media portraying a certain lifestyle
Mm-hmm.
that's just not true. I mean, you see it, but it's not really a reality. It's a persona that they've created or a character, and seeking, you know, there's no shortcuts in that I've found in life.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's a lot of hard work, consistency,
Mm-hmm.
discipline. If you think you find a cheat code or an easy way to get to the means that you believe you want to get to, it's probably too good to be true, or maybe you need to question if that's really what you want. Maybe there's more purpose that
Mm-hmm.
you should be seeking, if that makes sense. I had a bit of a shoulder issue about a year and a half ago that couldn't sleep. I couldn't move. It was horrible. And it wasn't
Really?
until I got into physical therapy that and really stuck with it that it
Mm-hmm.
got any kind of better.
Okay.
And it
Wow.
was life changing for me. I kind of got out of the practice of, once I felt better, I stopped doing the exercises on my own, and it was like went back downhill. But man, it's unbelievable how such simple movements, just stretching, can make you feel
Yeah.
so much better. It's pretty incredible.
Yeah. Impactful stuff. It's sort of underrated for sure, just how much moving will help a lot. Just relieving pain, making you feel better just mentally as well. So I think it's very underrated, definitely.
Yeah, moving was the last thing I wanted to do.
Fair, yeah. You don't even think about
When I was in so much pain, I was like, man, I can't possibly
it.
move. But yeah, glad I'm feeling a lot better now.
Yeah, good deal. You ever do like any sports or anything growing up, like football or baseball or anything?
Oh yeah, yeah. That probably baseball probably had a lot to do with
Mhm.
my shoulder
Fair.
now as I'm getting older. But I was
Yeah.
always like a three sport. If there was a sport going on, I was playing basketball, football,
Yeah,
baseball, soccer, golf,
that's the move. Yeah, it's nice.
volleyball. It's just
Everything, yeah.
yeah,
That's the move though. Like, and it's funny too. Like, you'll do all that stuff when you're young, and then you'll get older. You start working, and you stop doing that stuff, and then your body's like, I'm used to moving around a bunch. So that definitely plays a role for sure.
yeah.
What position in football were you?
I was offense. I was actually a fullback, and
Really?
then I was a de- defensive back on defense, um, and then I was a kicker. I was a soccer player, so
Did it
I could kick
all?
the ball. That's
Crazy.
really what I wanted to do. But my high school, we you had to play a position on every side. You couldn't just be a kicker. So
For
I kind of looked ridiculous. I had football fullback pads with a cornerback helmet
yeah.
and a kick and a football. It kind of looked weird, but uh,
That's three different positions for sure. Three very different positions. So
yeah, a little bit of a brag. I don't usually do this, but my high school, not just the number one high school football program in the country this year or last year, but I think it's 5 of the last 8 years they've been number one,
is
and
that
they've
right?
lost in the last 100 games. They lost to one team, St. John Bosco, 4 times. So they're
Crazy.
96-4 in the last 100.
That's
But
insane.
yeah,
So good school for sure.
yeah, yeah, much better than when I was there. We were good, but we weren't number one.
No,
So
I feel you. It's funny to that point. My school is one of the worst as far as football goes. We went like 2-8 my senior year, but it's funny. I think since we've left, same thing. They've gotten a lot better. So it's funny. I feel like maybe it was just our guys or what? I don't. But yeah, they're tough,
You guys
man.
laid the groundwork for them.
Exactly, set the
Yeah.
culture a little bit.
Yeah. Whereabouts in the country are you?
I'm in Minneapolis, Minnesota right now, but I'm from Memphis originally, Memphis, Tennessee.
Okay.
Yeah, so Southern boy, but yeah, I like to be in that central time zone. So just travel up the river and in Minneapolis
Okay.
now.
I love Memphis. I get to go out there once or twice a year for work. Uh,
Yeah,
AutoZone, one of our customers, is out there, and it's a neat town. Great barbecue. There's always
yeah,
something going on.
really cool
I
area for
didn't
sure.
I didn't get to make it there for my bachelor party before I got married in 2020, and
Mm,
I always wanted to go to Memphis in May. The
mm,
big barbecue competition that's there, but because of COVID,
oh
things were
yeah,
not happening, so
that
it
was
got
a good
canceled, and
time.
we didn't end up doing anything. But
No, I feel you. You missed out. That's a big fucking big huge thing for sure. We love that Memphis in May. A lot of great artists come out, good food, good vibes. So yeah, it's hard to beat for sure. To that point though, that COVID definitely messed a lot of things up for sure.
man, it was wild times. I was actually in China
Oh wow.
um, December into January
Mm-hmm.
1 of 2019, 2020, and
Mm-hmm.
things were like shutting down there. It was actually in Wuhan,
Mm-hmm.
um, where it kind of started. And
Interesting.
then we came here, and we were in California in February, and things started seeing cases, and yeah, and then the world changed. So
Yeah, crazy. Do you think that you've seen like a shift in guys pre-COVID to post-COVID, like how guys act, like how maybe people are perceived on the internet as far as men interacting with women and just the culture?
that's a good question. I've never really thought about it. I, I would say yes. I mean, it changed how everybody, I think, not maybe not everybody, but a lot of people, it changed. I
Mm-hmm.
still travel a lot internationally, and you see it's neat to see that culturally. I mean, in some countries, it's still like a thing. There's still active precautions going around, and
Mm-hmm.
people are concerned about it. I don't see that as much here. We're in St. Louis. We actually, our business never shut down a single day during
Mm-hmm.
COVID. There were no real strict restrictions in the city of St. Louis. Restaurants and things shut down, but um, yeah, I guess your question, I would say definitely changed, but how has it changed? I'd have to think about that. It's has not really something I've talked or thought about really the last 2 years. Kind of been, I don't want to think about it. It's such a, I know I personally, it was stressful, man. It was just so much unknown.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then kind of losing, I think the biggest thing is kind of that aspect of community where you're not getting together regularly.
For sure.
Churches, places of worship closing down,
Mm-hmm.
other community groups outside of kind of a faith perspective not really meeting regularly. I think it kind of fostered more of like an isolation. People got isolated.
Mm-hmm.
I think people started drinking a lot more.
Fair.
um, and I would say overall, probably it was a negative thing culture for our culture, but
Fair.
hopefully we don't need to go through something like that again.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy for sure. I do think there was like a big shift, like to your point, we definitely got more isolated. I think that has played a huge role into that male loneliness epidemic. So I do think like maybe it hurt a lot for sure, just to push guys away, push them into their own little corners a little bit. So I think it does make sense that like the timing wise, right after COVID, we see the male loneliness epidemic and like more men are lonely and all that stuff coming along. What do you think about that? Do you think that played a huge role?
I mean, now that you're saying it, yeah, like I never really thought about that, but definitely, it's definitely probably a correlation there. It,
Fair,
you think male. I'm not a doctor or anything, or
fair.
really studied the topic significant, like any serious amount of research or anything, but um, yeah, if you're not being a part of an active community group or
Hmm.
even just a peer group and
Hmm.
I think meeting regularly with your peers or your community members is pretty important. And by not having that, you naturally isolate into kind of your own little quarantine
Hmm.
safe place, I guess, of your home or wherever that may be.
Yeah.
It was really important, I know, for me personally, because my wife didn't have the option. She worked somewhere that they were closed for a period of time,
Hmm.
um, and she didn't have that kind of work community that I
Hmm.
was getting.
Hmm.
Going to every day, going into the office and being a part of a team, and at least I felt like we at least were fortunate in that we still get to see our coworkers every day.
For sure.
But yeah, there's definitely a lot of things I missed out on in that time. A
Fair.
couple different local like pickup sport leagues
Mm.
stopped playing. The gyms shut down. The
Hmm.
church, you couldn't even go to church, so it was
Yeah.
weird times.
Yeah, it was really crazy for sure, for sure. So yeah, it makes sense I think as like just made us all a little bit lonelier and we miss that community a lot for sure. You mentioned church. Do you feel like the church community hurt a little bit with that? I feel like definitely it's nice to have that fellowship, meet up with people of similar faith, similar ideas for sure. I think maybe that hurt a lot too post COVID.
Yeah, I'm pretty big on my faith. During COVID, I wasn't quite in the same mindset as I am today.
Hmm.
I was raised Catholic. I went to Catholic schools, and it's about the time my dad passed about 3 years ago,
Hmm.
2022, kind of the tail end of COVID there.
Oh.
I kind of just had like I don't know if spiritual awakening is the right word, but I felt like I really started to practice my faith
Mm.
before I would go to church,
Hmm.
but I didn't feel like I was part of like a community.
Fair.
Um, in the last couple of years, I've really tried to buy into that concept of a faith community, being a part of it, trying to be active in it, and so I don't know if it's just a recency bias because I've been doing it more so recently, but your question is, I would, if I was doing it back then, I probably would have missed out on it a lot more. Um,
Fair.
but I was kind of just showing up at that time, just following the rules, I
I
guess, if
understand
that makes
that
sense.
for sure. No, I think that is really valuable. It's funny. I was sort of raised in the church, so I don't know if you're from St. Louis, but I feel like everywhere down south is like big on church and just going to church. So I still feel like sometimes I just sort of follow the rules and just show up. You know what I mean? But I think that community more than anything helped a lot. Um, just keeping me a little bit grounded and like having people to talk to and chat with and seeing some familiar faces. So I think that may have hurt a little bit after that COVID situation. Do you think that you would say church plays a big role in like you being a man, being masculine, being like a well-rounded person? It's interesting. I feel like there is like a thought that like to be like a masculine man or to be a real man, you have to like subscribe to some sort of faith. But it's funny. I meet people who are atheists and like of different religions and not really religious at all that would say, oh, I don't need that at all. And I'd say that they're pretty well-rounded and living good lives. So what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so for faith, for me, like I have my own personal faith and
Mm-hmm.
my like religion, but I
Mm-hmm.
think faith as a term sometimes can shut down communication.
Mm-hmm.
It can be divisive, and I try to. I mean, if people have a shared faith as me, I'm
Mm-hmm.
kind of comfortable talking about. I'm really comfortable, honestly, talking to anybody, regardless of their faith background. I want to learn more
Mm-hmm.
about all faiths. I've tried to study all faiths, but faith, I think, doesn't necessarily have to be a particular organized religion. Just faith. When I think of faith, I think of more as just a belief in something.
Mm-hmm.
And if that belief is no belief in a higher power of whatever you call it,
Hmm.
that's a faith, and I try to respect it. Um, I think it is pretty important though to have a faith
Hmm.
and being committed to that faith. That for me personally, that's where I get my purpose. Like
Hmm.
if I think like what is the purpose of life, or what is my purpose in life, I lean heavily on my faith,
Hmm.
um, trying to live out the golden rule of treating other people the way I want to be treated, and kind of it's pretty simple to say, but incredibly
Hmm.
difficult to do at times. Um,
Fair.
so I try to simplify it a little more. If I could just be a little more loving today than I was
Hmm.
yesterday, that's kind of where I get my purpose, and I get that heavily from my faith. So
Yeah.
without if I didn't have that faith, I don't know where I'd think of myself as a man. I don't know. I wouldn't want to tell somebody else they're not a man because they
Fair.
don't have a faith. But I guess if it's my belief, I would say, yeah, you got to have a faith of some kind, faith in
Hmm.
something
Fair.
to find purpose, if that makes sense.
For sure. Yeah, I'd agree with that too. Like, as I do go to church and stuff, but I wouldn't say I'm super religious. And I feel like as long as you believe something, you've got something to pull from. I think that's totally fine. I wouldn't agree with that sentiment that like you have to have some sort of organized religious structure to be a man or like masculine. But it's interesting. Like you'll hear some of those talking points. So I think it is something to talk about for sure. What are your opinions on like those red pill type spaces, like those communities where they have these very strong like guidelines of what they'd say like a man should do, should be? What are your thoughts on that?
I don't know. Um, I'd have to like maybe look at specifically exactly which ones you're talking about.
Fair.
When I hear the word red pill, like I think Matrix, right? I don't know
Yeah,
if
fair.
it's because my age, but like but I know there's like a different meaning more recently,
Hmm.
kind of on the internet. I'm not real big on social media. I don't have any social media of really any kind.
Fair.
Um, but I don't, I'm a big like question guy.
Hmm.
I try to be open and not s- stuck in my own set of beliefs. And
Hmm.
when I say open, maybe seeking truth is a better
Hmm.
way than saying being open. And so, how do I seek truth? Well, I study,
Hmm.
I question, and kind of test, try to use different logical thought patterns of carving away what I
Hmm.
find to be false or not believe, and then taking that to another group of people, my peer group or mentors, people that I look up to, running it by them, getting their thoughts on it to see if I'm missing something.
Hmm.
Um, I don't know if that answers your question or not, but I I don't know. I'm not a big fan of being told like this is the path.
Hmm.
Everything's like if you don't do things this way, you're not going to get to the end result.
Yeah.
Um, I'm kind of more of a I'll listen to it, and if I
Hmm.
like it, I'll try it. If it doesn't work, I'll try something different. But if
Hmm.
I don't like something that somebody's telling me to do, I'm pretty quick to call bullshit or at least try to understand it before I kind of accept it.
Fair. Yeah, I'd agree with that for sure. I like that perspective where I think questions are more valuable than answers a lot of times. You know what I mean? So I don't really value those super strict guidelines. I don't like being told to do either, but I definitely do like to hear those perspectives, like to hear like the ideas. I do value picking people's brains, but yeah, I'm the same way. Questions are more important than any specific rules or guidelines to me. Generally speaking, I just want to maybe learn a little bit each day. So I think it is funny. What do you think about like the younger guys who are in like those tougher spots, maybe a bit more lonely, looking for more of those voices, but they're not really asking the questions. They're just sort of listening to those guidelines from those red pill type spaces. What are your thoughts on those guys, and what would you say to them?
When you say like younger guys, what do you mean age group wise?
It's interesting. Maybe
Or
just like say just graduated high school, so now they're sort of on their own, 18 to like 22, 23, 24, that type of early 20s range, starting to just sort of find themselves and just starting to find roles in life.
and do you mind if I ask how old you are?
I'm 27, so I feel like I'm
Okay.
sort of still getting there myself. You know what I mean? One of those where still a
I'm
lot to learn.
37
Okay, fair.
and I'm starting to realize I'm not so young anymore. I wouldn't consider myself old, but I was having a conversation with a kid I work with the other day.
Mhm.
Uh, he's 20 and he called me old guy. I was like, what are you talking? I'm not, it's not, but um, yeah. So could you repeat the question? You said
I
the younger
yeah,
guys that are,
yeah, guys, younger guys, and they're hearing all these different perspectives, but they're mostly hearing those loud voices that are saying you have to do this, this, and this, and they have these very interesting opinions on just the culture and like what's going on in the world. What's your opinion, or what would you say to those guys who are listening to those perspectives and really value those perspectives and still trying to figure things out?
maybe start with like kind of something I was reminded of
Mm-hmm.
from your last question is I think it's better to have questions that can't be answered
For
than
sure.
answers that can't be questioned.
For sure.
Um, I've seen some stuff online. I mean, and again, without having social media, I don't really get a whole lot of probably media that is geared towards men as a demographic.
Fair.
I don't really watch television. I do watch a lot, listen to a lot of podcasts. I read a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Um, what would I tell them? Yeah, when I was straight out of high school, the last thing I was receptive to was advice that was contrary to what I believed.
Mm-hmm.
I was pretty hard headed. I
Fair.
wasn't real open to people telling me what to do
Mm-hmm.
if it didn't already reinforce my beliefs.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd maybe, I'm a big believer in finding wisdom,
Mm-hmm.
um, seeking wisdom rather than knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
And that isn't something I've always done. Um, how do I do that? I try to ask a lot of good questions.
Mm-hmm.
And I try to ask them to people that are generally older than me. I think
Fair.
I love talking to old guys. I mean, 60s, 70s, 80s guys that been around longer than I have, gone through what I'm trying to get through, and
Mm-hmm.
probably lived it 10 times over. I've seen some stuff on like, I don't know, I studied Stoicism for a while,
Mm,
and some of the content I see on Stoicism today doesn't really sit well with me. It just
really?
seems like it's not a real solid understanding. It seems like it's got a couple of points, but it doesn't really go in depth.
Uh-huh.
Um, so maybe just really study things, I guess would be my answer before you just start running with them. I
Mm-hmm.
think there's a lot of confirmation bias sometimes in
For sure.
younger guys that I meet where they see one of their peers doing something,
Mm-hmm.
or they see even worse, somebody on social media portraying a certain lifestyle
Mm-hmm.
that's just not true. I mean, you see it, but it's not really a reality. It's a persona that they've created or a character, and seeking, you know, there's no shortcuts in that I've found in life.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of hard work, um, consistency,
Mm-hmm.
discipline. If if you think you find a cheat code or an easy way to get to the means that you believe you want to get to, it's probably too good to be true, or maybe you need to question if that's really what you want. Maybe there's more purpose that
Mm-hmm.
you should be seeking, if that makes sense.
For sure. Yeah, I'd agree with that. It's interesting. I'd say the same thing. I felt like maybe straight out of high school, early college, maybe later into college as well. I felt like maybe I had all the answers. I felt like it was like all going to be so easy and I could just figure it all out by myself. But definitely do feel like as I get older, I definitely want to hear more input from older guys who've sort of taken their lumps already and been there and done that for sure. So I do think it would be great for those young guys to have more voices to hear from, even if they don't really want to hear it right now. You know what I mean? Like, as opposed to just hearing those guys that are saying the sort of the crazier stuff. I think it'd be nice to have more reasonable guys that they can resonate with, that they can listen to, and take some good perspective from as well, for sure.
And there's probably people. I'm real big on proximity,
Mm-hmm.
probably because I don't use a whole lot of social media, but um, being proximate to somebody in your local community, finding a group,
Mm-hmm.
whether it be a faith group community or another
Mm-hmm.
community organization, just a group
Mm-hmm.
that you can meet with regularly,
Mm-hmm.
weekly, bi-weekly, even monthly. It goes to me, that's more impactful than listening to advice from somebody on the internet.
For sure.
Maybe they're telling you what you want to hear, but
Mm-hmm.
if they're not, I mean, everybody kind of goes through the same challenges, but there's also unique challenges that people deal with in every community. And
Mm-hmm.
getting feedback from those that are proximate to you, I think, is pretty important.
For sure.
I don't see a lot of the groups that I'm in. I'm one of the younger guys, and
Mm.
I'm 37. So for some reason, you ask younger people to get out and join and show up, and I was busy too. I get it. It
Fair.
wasn't high on my list of priorities, but I wish it had been.
Fair. Yeah. Yeah, I think that community is definitely really big, but I don't know. I think a combination of things, the COVID, post COVID, the loneliness thing, more internet. Everybody's on the internet just doing their own thing nowadays, where you don't really have those opportunities for young guys to just go talk with a bunch of older guys in the community for sure. And of course, they're not really seeking it out either. So
And there's something about talking in person too.
for sure.
I know we're doing a virtual call. It face to face is one thing, but if when it comes to like the internet,
Mm-hmm.
even on social media, where you have somewhat of a some people have their real profiles, but when it's like anonymous speech, and even if it's not, even if it's tied to people's things, I think people like talk to each other differently, significantly differently than you would have. You like the communication is just so much more hostile, or
Night and day. Yeah.
yeah, night and day from what you would have a normal conversation face to face with somebody with. And
Mm-hmm.
if that's all you're consuming, it's not really. I don't want to say it's not reality, but it's not the real world.
Yeah, for sure. It'll definitely
So
change your perspective, and it's really polarizing. People do really get into really bad places, like mean places on the internet for sure. Just the trolls and saying super negative, high energy stuff they wouldn't say in person, or hopefully they wouldn't say in person. So I definitely do think it would help to have more of those regular face to face conversations, because you can't really hide behind that mask of anonymity in real life, you know? So it's sort of strange for sure.
it's actually kind of what got me off of social media. About
Mm-hmm.
it's 2012, so about 12, 13 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I was having like an argument with
Mm-hmm.
somebody I went to high school. I hadn't seen this person in 10 years,
Mm.
and we weren't even that close of friends. And I'm like angrily typing on my keyboard, and I just
Mm-hmm.
said, "What am I doing?" Like I, and I just went out. I deleted my Facebook,
Mm.
and I went outside, went for a run, and I came back. I just haven't gone back to it. No
There you go.
Instagram, no Twitter. I just don't do it. So
Mhm.
uh, somehow I managed to get by without it.
Yeah, fair. It's interesting though, to that point. I feel like it's harder for young guys to avoid being on the internet nowadays. Like I feel like it'll only get harder as we become more isolated, and like all types of jobs require the internet and being online or making some sort of profile. So I think maybe just like 20, 30, 40 years from now, especially with AI becoming a bigger thing, it'll only become bigger. People will only be having more of those internet interactions, you know?
Yeah, and a lot of that stuff, I mean, if you're not careful about what you're putting on the internet, it can hurt you
Yeah.
negatively in the future.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've got some like a GitHub. I've got a GitHub profile,
Mm-hmm.
but I wouldn't really consider that social media. I've got a YouTube. I don't make videos, but I do consume media on
Okay.
YouTube. But I used to work for a social media company.
Mm-hmm.
Done some app development work
Mm-hmm.
15 years ago, and even back then, I mean, I
Mm-hmm.
see it more so now with my kids, but a lot of these things are designed to keep you engaged on platform and really mess with the chemicals in your brain.
For sure.
Dopamine releases from validation of social media interactions with your peer group or strangers, and it's I almost look at it as a form of addiction for a lot of people. Like
For sure.
it hits certain dopamine releases in your brain that make you feel good. And yeah, I'm real big on, somebody told me something once,
Mm-hmm.
like identifying what you idolize or what is your idol.
Mm-hmm.
And there's different ways to go about that. One of the ways is like, what is the first thing you grab for in the morning when you wake up?
Mm-hmm.
And mine used to be my cell phone.
Fair.
I'd check out my calendar, my emails. Before that, it was my social media. But now it's a Bible. I got a Bible on my nightstand.
There you go.
I wake up, read a little scripture, I
Mm-hmm.
pray, and then I start my day. And it,
Nice.
but night and day. So I've been doing that for about 2 years now, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying my life's perfect, but I got a heck of a lot less anxiety.
Fair.
Generally in a much better mood. I
Mm-hmm.
don't wake up stressed. If I do, it pretty quickly get over that. So, but
Yeah, and that sounds much more fulfilling. It sounds like it'd be much better for your mental health as well. Just not reaching for your phone and having those bright lights flash in your face first thing in the morning, for sure. So,
there's a lot there with the lights too. Yeah, I'm just recently starting to read up on how important different types of light are,
mm-hmm.
how they affect your sleep if before you go to bed,
Mm-hmm.
when you wake up first thing in the morning, all your circadian rhythm and your natural kind of clock in your body. It's there's a lot out there,
For
and
sure.
wish I'd learned some of it a while ago. But
Yeah, fair. I wish stuff like that was taught more in schools. You know what I mean? Just there's a far cry from like the computer light and the phone light from like the sunlight. You know what I mean? And they follow different rhythms and all that stuff. So I definitely think it'd be more beneficial to have more of that sunlight and fresh air than we have compared to just the laptop light, the phone light, the iridescent light inside your house. I feel like that's what guys are getting more when they could be getting the good stuff, you know, so for sure.
yeah, I'm a big fan of outdoors. It I'm a part of this workout group. It's like a
Mm,
men's workout group
mm,
called F3,
mm.
and it's held outdoors.
Okay.
It's different. Every city is different where they what time they do it, but most of them are early. So
Mm.
mine is like 5 or 5:15 a.m.
Oh, wow.
About a dozen, sometimes 2 dozen guys,
Mm-hmm.
rain or shine, outside first thing in the morning and get after it for about 45 minutes to an hour, like a high intensity body weight workout. Because it's outside, there's no gym
Yeah.
weights or anything. It's just kind of different every day. But
Nice.
it's completely different impact than going to the gym
For sure.
and being inside working out. Not that
Mm-hmm.
there's anything wrong with that. I prefer being outside.
For sure. I understand that. And then probably higher intensity as well. Get a real sweat, get your heart really beating.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm sure it's much nicer in a lot of ways for sure. I'd have to check that out. F3, huh?
Yeah. They got a website.
Uh-huh.
It's called F3 Nation.
Okay.
Um, it started like 15 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I got, I joined up about 2 years ago. It's
Okay.
completely free. Like anytime somebody charges me money for something, I'm
Yeah.
like, all right, this is a scam. Um, and then F3, it stands for fitness, fellowship, and faith.
Nice.
And the faith is not any one faith. It's just kind of like I said earlier, faith in something.
Mm-hmm.
I've worked out with I mean, it really depends on the area, I think,
Mm-hmm.
because it's community, whatever that community is. But because I travel for work, I
Mm-hmm.
really like it. Every city I go to, there's a group, and I
Mm-hmm.
know I can just show up and be a part of something,
Mm-hmm.
get a good workout. And so, like when I go to Detroit, it's more a lot of Muslims. Not always, but typically, depending on
Mm-hmm.
which community in Detroit I'm in.
Mm-hmm.
Other areas, like in St. Louis, it's kind of a blend. It's mostly Christian, but there's some Jewish guys work out. There's some people that are Muslim, Hindus. It's kind of a mix,
Mm-hmm.
and I've liked it because you get to talk about different faiths, which is kind of
Mm-hmm.
something I've always been interested in. And
Yeah.
but it's the faith piece is probably the it's mostly fitness. Like it's a military style workout group,
Okay.
high intensity, 45-minute high intensity, mostly
Mm-hmm.
body weight calisthenics. They're big on rucking, walking with like weighted backpack or
Yeah.
mostly because there's no equipment. It's a lot of body weight stuff, but
Mm-hmm.
it's also I'm again one of the younger guys that are out there, so you'd
Sure.
probably be one of the younger guys if you showed up. But it's crazy to me because like some of these guys are 50, 60. I mean, one guy's 72,
Uh-huh.
and I'll be gassed
Mm-hmm.
40 minutes into the workout. Like I can't make it anymore. And I look up and there's just some guy that's 55 staring at me going twice as
Crazy.
hard. And I'm like,
Jeez.
it's a bit ego shattering, but it's also motivating
Yeah.
because it pushes me like, if this guy can do it, I'm 20 years younger. I should be able to, but it's been a good group. And then it's also like you mentioned male loneliness. That's kind of like their
Mm-hmm.
mission. So like
Mm-hmm.
as an
Mm.
organization, it's a 501c3. Their mission is to I should know this. It's to invigorate male community leadership through planting, growing,
Mm.
and serving small workout groups for men. And there's,
Mm. Nice.
I think, 5,000 locations across the U.S. now, and it's starting to expand internationally.
Wow.
There's about 500,000
Nice.
members, I think. Guys just
Uh-huh.
show up voluntarily, free of charge. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, that sounds really valuable for sure. And I do think that fitness, that health aspect is a big part of just being a good male leader, male role model for sure. I think I definitely find myself resonating more with those guys who are fit, like in shape, buff guys, tough looking dudes. You know what I mean? Those are the voices that I
Yeah,
definitely feel like catch my attention a bit more for sure. So I think that is very
yeah.
valuable.
They've got two books. The guy that founded the organization, he actually wrote two books on
Mm,
leadership.
hmm
Um, one's called, I've actually got it right here. It's called Freed to Lead.
mm,
Um, and the other one is called Q Source.
mm,
Um, it's, he's got like a military background, so I think it draws heavily from the military, but um, kind of with the training aspect.
hmm
But their concept of leadership is you got to get right
hmm
in order to live right. Once you live right, you can lead right.
for sure.
And then once you lead right, you can leave right. And leaving right is kind of about legacy
Hmm
building and how you leave the earth
mm,
better than where you found it. But you mentioned the fitness piece.
hmm
That's part of the get right. And it's it's pretty important. I mean, taking your health seriously is something I've always done, but it's also more of a focus the last 2 years since I've kind of joined up, making
Sure.
sure I get after it every day and start my day with a really hard. It's pretty incredible when you start your day with a hard workout.
Hmm
It kind of gives me at least this confidence. Like no matter what I've got at me coming that day, no matter how hard it is, I've already
hmm
knocked out something incredibly difficult at 5 o'clock in the morning. So
hmm
how hard could it be?
For sure.
The you mentioned like the kind of mentorship.
Hmm
It's not geared like nobody's ever outright come out and said, I'm going to be your mentor, but I've
hmm
noticed if I'm going through something or if I'm working out something in my brain,
hmm
after you work out with somebody for so long, you just kind of naturally build some level of comfort where you're comfortable about maybe ask them a question about what you got going on. And
For sure.
with them being older than me,
Uh-huh.
most of them have been through it. For me, I got two young kids, 3 and 7,
Okay.
and it's like every day is something different.
Fair.
They blow my mind sometimes of like
Yeah.
questions they ask or like things I'm dealing with. And you mentioned earlier about I wish they'd have taught me in school. I wish somebody would have taught me in school how you raise kids, because it's it's fun, but it's
Fair.
a challenge.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, it definitely sounds like a journey, yeah.
Yeah.
Fair, yeah. Yeah. That's pretty cool for sure. To that point about the military type workouts and that type of just getting up and really getting after it and having that camaraderie. What are your thoughts on, and this is sort of a jump, what are your thoughts on like the draft, like where guys were used to have to go to the draft and automatically be join into the military? What are your thoughts on that?
Man, I hope it doesn't happen. um, so I've lived outside of the U.S. before. Like I lived in Poland for a while.
Mm-hmm.
I lived in Mexico for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Traveled throughout Asia and Europe, and there's different drafts in different places.
Mm-hmm.
Some countries are mandatory. There is no option. You just mandatory. Every male
Mm-hmm.
goes into military service for X amount of years.
Mm-hmm.
Um, if there was a draft in the U.S., I mean, I'm kind of anti-war. I
Fair.
wish there was a world where you don't need war.
For sure.
I would say I'm probably against it.
Fair.
Um, I think I think that I think people, if you're going to force somebody to do something against their will,
Mm-hmm.
how effective are they really going to be
Fair.
in a military role?
Mm-hmm.
And you know, I would hope that there's enough men that would lead. And now I guess there's also women. I don't know enough about the military. I never served in the military.
Fair.
I don't know if the draft includes women or not. I think it's just men.
Yeah, I think so.
Um, but I don't know if that answers your question, but I hope there's not one.
Yeah, that's pretty insightful. No, I
um,
agree, but it's funny with the how things are going. There was a point where they thought there may be a World War III. I was like, oh, I hope they don't draft me. You know what I mean? Like, because as a man, I think we all have to like submit for it or put in like our information for the service or whatever. So definitely a possibility
yeah,
we could be drafted. So it's sort of crazy. But there's a part of me
yeah. I
that's
don't.
like, go ahead.
No, go for it. I
No, I
was.
was gonna say there's a part of me that's like I can sort of see maybe the older guys' thought process a little bit, sort of to that military workout fitness group you mentioned. Like I think there would be some benefit for young guys to be in that environment with older guys and running around and doing like fitness type stuff, military type stuff, and building that camaraderie a little bit. I think there may potentially be some benefit to it, but of course, I would never want to be forced to join a war. So I think it is interesting.
Yeah, if I was forced, I would be glad that I'm in shape. um, it, I would. I'm not trying to make light of the situation, but I mean, obesity to me, obesity is one of the largest. I believe it's the number one preventable cause of death in the United States.
For sure.
You got alcohol, tobacco, and obesity. I'm not sure which one of those are where in the top three, but those are the top three.
Mm-hmm.
Um, most people, I should say most, but a lot of people are not in great shape. And
Fair.
I don't know how effective
Would
people
they
would
be?
be. It's because
For sure.
I don't know. Like I didn't talk to my grandparents a whole lot. My dad's father, he was drafted and fought in World War II.
Mm-hmm.
My mom's dad fought in the Korean War. They
Mm-hmm.
don't really talk about the war a whole lot, but I'm a big history guy. I've
Mm-hmm.
studied war, and um, it's a I can imagine like
Yeah,
what, I mean, it's got to be just hell on earth. And
I'm sure.
being more into my faith late, I mean, when I was younger,
Mm-hmm.
I always, I probably 10 years ago, I would have said, I'd be the first guy.
Mm-hmm.
You wouldn't have to draft me. I'd volunteer. But like,
Really?
I don't know if I could actually kill somebody. Like
Fair.
it, even in a war scenario, like I don't, and I know that probably different than most beliefs, like even in religion. I mean, religion is part of war sometimes, it's caused wars, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to take my whole faith thing pretty seriously. And for me, my faith, that's one of the rules is don't kill anybody. And
For
how do you
sure.
justify, can it be justified? I don't know. I've never really thought about it until you just asked the
Good
question,
question.
but it's hopefully not something we go to.
Fair, yeah. Don't need that at all. I definitely wouldn't want to do that. But yeah, they were saying that might happen, so you never know. What are your thoughts on the current like political landscape? Not to get super political, but what are your thoughts on how things are looking right now? It's funny when I messaged you on Reddit. I looked at your profile a little bit, saw you were like a moderator and then Donald, and I was like, I don't know. I thought that there was like a Donald Trump thing, but it was. I clicked on it. It clearly wasn't. So I thought that was sort of funny. But yeah,
Yeah,
what
it's
are your
kind of
thoughts?
like a parody one. I think that
Yeah,
got banned. Um, the one it's like a Donald Glover fan page.
yeah, sort of funny.
Um, it used to be more active a
Hmm.
long time ago. I don't think he's as popular. Maybe I think I'm a big Donald Glover fan.
Yeah, same.
But when it comes to politics, I
Uh huh.
mean, I'm not a big politic guy.
Yeah.
I don't really ascribe to a party or really try to even spend a whole lot of time
Hmm.
watching,
Fair.
reading
Hmm.
about it. Now, when it comes to like regulations
Hmm.
that affect my industry, my business, my life, I do try to read up on it. But my perception of politics, at least in the US,
Hmm.
is we're going in the wrong direction.
Fair.
And I don't mean that because of the current administration. I just mean as a system,
Hmm.
it's so divisive
For sure.
where it seems to be like everybody wants to tear everybody down and
Hmm.
find the things that they don't agree on.
Hmm.
And I wish, it's probably idealistic, but I just wish there's enough good things,
Hmm.
especially in our country. I mean, I'm really big pro America. I love
Hmm.
this country. I've traveled to a lot of countries. I think it's the best country in the world.
Yeah.
There's got to be things that people agree on,
For sure.
regardless of your political party or where you're from, where you just say, look,
Hmm.
here's something easy that we all agree on. Let's just do that,
Hmm.
um, and not argue. And I know that's not a realistic like thing, but I don't really have a solution. I try not to point out problems I don't have solutions to, but something that bothers me. I've talked to a couple senators before,
Hmm.
and I always ask them the same question. I
Hmm.
ask them, when you vote, like think of somebody in Congress, a senator or a House of Representatives member,
Hmm.
the bills that they vote on, they're like phone books. They're hundreds, thousands of pages long.
Crazy.
And I ask them, I go, do you read these things before you vote on them?
Hmm.
And not one of them does. They just they rely on their staff, their advisors,
Mm.
lobbyists to
Mm.
tell them what's in a bill.
Hmm.
I'm not gonna say those people lied to them, but I want it to be smaller. Like
For sure.
you should have a couple pages
Hmm.
because the bigger something is, the more things people are going to disagree about. And
Hmm.
the only solution I really have is make things simpler, try to find common ground. I'm not a big fan of this whole like trade insider trading thing.
For sure.
Congress, like I don't. We used to have a senator here in Missouri, Claire McCaskill, and
Uh-huh.
when I met with her during a town hall, I
Hmm.
asked her. This is like 8 years ago now, I think, but I asked her, I go, how did you make all your money? I go, I'm not trying to like attack you. I personally want to know you're incredibly financially successful.
Mm-hmm.
You only make this much as a senator.
Mm-hmm.
How do you have $100 million?
Yeah.
Like, you didn't have a business before you got into Congress. You've been a career politician. How are you making some of these guys tens of millions, some hundreds of millions of dollars?
Crazy.
And it's not like one side or the other. It's both sides.
Mm-hmm.
And that doesn't seem like, I don't know. For me, politicians are supposed to be serving the people that they represent, not
Mm-hmm.
benefiting themselves personally.
Mm-hmm.
Or and then that's not just, I don't know, politicians, because there's the whole concept of lobbyists, special interest groups.
Mm-hmm.
It's just it seems like a business to me.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a big, just the government has turned into a business. I mean, the
For
other thing,
sure.
I mean, I talk all day, I guess. I know I said I don't like talking about politics, but like the other thing that really bothers me is it's not as much as a money making thing as it is. It seems like they're
Mm-hmm.
not good at running a business. Like, how do you pass a budget, a
Mm-hmm.
federal budget that spends more money than you generate?
Mm-hmm.
That's how you get what's called a deficit. And then when you have years of deficits,
Mm-hmm.
plus you figure the interest on this deficit, that's how you get the federal debt.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how the hell they're ever going to pay it off. I mean, they talk about it. Some people talk about it. I would say probably the Republican side talks about paying it off more.
Mm-hmm.
But Trump's been in office now. He spent more money than they brought in revenue, not just
Mm-hmm.
this administration, but the last administration. The Democrats did it before him. And it's like, if it was a business, it
Uh-huh.
wouldn't exist. You
Sure.
can't, or even an individual, if you spend more money on your credit card than you have,
Mm-hmm.
eventually you either declare bankruptcy or you go to jail.
For sure.
And it's just, I don't get it, man.
Yeah.
I
Crazy.
don't know. What are your thoughts on it? What do you think? Am I
Yeah. No, I agree with a lot of that stuff. I do think there's more like self-servers than there are civil servants right now. So it's really interesting just to see the political landscape. I'm definitely not really interested in a lot of those super political talks. I feel like it's so polarized. I feel like the news is like depressing and it'll frustrate you for either side. Like there's this channels that you could watch for the left that are like really frustrating and like, oh, the right is ruining everything. And there's the same thing on the opposite side. But I definitely do think we're going in the wrong direction. And I don't like a lot of the voices in politics right now. I feel like they're saying a lot of the wrong things that I don't really like to hear. So it's interesting. Like I'm not very political. I don't really resonate with either side right now. But I guess I would have to say like if I'm going to pick a side, I'd agree more with what the left guys are saying. But I also felt there are not a lot of good like voices I resonate with on that side. Like they're not really any like guys that resonate with me like as a man. I feel like or just like I guess I mentioned that I really value those tough masculine voices. Like we mentioned, like the fitness aspect. Those guys are like big buff guys, like been there, done that. Those guys are the voices I really like to hear from. And while I do value a lot of the perspective of people on the left, I really feel like there's not anyone out there that really resonates with me as a man. So I think there's gripes for both sides for sure. But yeah, I'd like to see more voices that I really resonate with and that like really have the same values as me.
I think it's just so, my main gripe is the divisiveness that you
Mm-hmm.
mentioned
For sure.
of the the media that people consume, whether it be social media or even television. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I remember as a kid, there didn't used to be 24-hour news
Sure.
channels like CNN, Fox News,
Mm-hmm.
MSNBC. It was a segment on
Mm-hmm.
a channel, 1 or 2 hours a night. That was all the news. And now
Mm-hmm.
it's 24 hours a day on TV. It's
Mm-hmm.
social media geared towards, and I kind of get the business behind it, I think, is you want to have things that are divisive because that
Mm-hmm.
engages people. It gets them to comment and argue,
For sure.
increases your ad revenue. Well, that isn't necessarily good for anyone but the business that's profiting off of
Mm-hmm.
it.
For sure.
Um, I don't, I think part of it is a lack of faith too. I'd like to
Sure.
see more of a faith people that are more outspoken about their faith.
Yeah,
Not
for
that I
sure.
want my particular faith, but
Uh
just
huh.
people that in the community that they represent.
Mhm.
I think that was more. I remember as a kid that was like the thing that people ran on. It was like
Mhm.
one of the main things was their personal faith.
Mhm.
Um, I don't really hear people talk a whole lot about that when it comes to politics. Again, probably because of the divisiveness of being afraid of offending people. But yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on it.
Fair. Yeah, I'd agree with that for sure. That's one thing I guess I resonate with those guys, those politicians that do hang on their faith a bit more. Like we've got the different Muslim senators and Congress people, and we've got the Christians. That's one of those things I do really value from the right. I'm not a big right wing guy, but I do value some of those faith based guys who at least claim to be faith based and they'll speak on their faith a little bit. Value those voices for sure. So, but yeah, I think overall, just not heading in the right direction country wise. So I think it's hard to really be involved in it. For me, at least, I feel like that division pushes me away more than anything.
Yeah, I forget where I read it. There's so it's like I don't want to call it a meme, but it's an infographic. Is kind of like a wheel. Talks
Mm-hmm.
about men. It's like good times
Mm-hmm.
make weak men.
Mm-hmm.
Weak men make hard times. Hard
Mm-hmm.
times lead to bad times. Bad times make good men. It's kind of like a generational
Sure.
wheel where it's typically one and a half, 2 generations in each segment. And it's kind
Mm-hmm.
of like, I would say, World War II.
Mm-hmm.
That was a really bad time. And a lot of men
Mm-hmm.
stood up and created good times. And
Mm-hmm.
then we had a period of good times for a while. I don't know where we're at, if we've gone through another cycle or if we're entering into a bad time cycle. And
Mm-hmm.
maybe it'll get better again. I'm hopeful. I'm always hopeful. I try not to be too. I know I
Yeah.
just said a lot of negative, pessimistic stuff, but uh, it really just takes people to step up and
For sure.
make change. I don't know. I don't know if you can see that or not, but that was a paper when Obama got. It was his inauguration day. I was
Mm,
really big on hope and change. Like,
nice.
man, what a speaker!
For sure.
Uh,
Cool dude.
really cool, dude. And
For
just
sure.
like the message of what he's. I mean, good message. And
Mm-hmm.
guys like that, I don't. I don't know. When I hear politicians talk today,
Mm-hmm.
it's always attacking someone else. It's not like, here's what I believe in.
Mm-hmm.
This is what we're going to do.
Mm-hmm.
And trying to find common ground. I just don't see that really as much as I feel like I used to. But I don't know.
Yeah, I'd agree with you. I feel like it was a different era for sure. It was always great to hear Obama talk and hear his perspective, and he never really seemed like he was attacking anyone, just like a hope and change guy, like you said. So I really do value him as a speaker, as a leader, for sure. And to your point, I definitely don't see too many guys like that anymore. So I think it would be nice to have the type of guy step up for sure. What's your take-home message for young guys out there? What do you think they should hear? They should uh, take in.
Man, one of the strongest ones that I've got is kind of like a concept.
Mm-hmm.
That concept is kind of been, I don't know, it's been used by a couple of different players, but the concept is called I am third.
Mm-hmm.
Um, where I first heard about it was Gale Sayers. He was a running back for the Chicago Bears in the 70s.
Mm-hmm.
Um, there's another story. So Gale Sayers, he had a teammate that fought cancer, um, and he ended up putting the guy died. He helped before he died. He paid for all of his medical costs, helped take care of his family during and after he died. There's another story of a pilot in an air show. His plane crashed,
Mm-hmm.
and rather than ejecting from the plane, he was worried the plane was going to crash into this huge crowd of people and kill a bunch of people. So he ended up dying in the plane crash, but he made sure he tried to crash land so that nobody else was hurt. And then when they went through his stuff in his wallet. He had this card that said, I am third.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and the concept is like I, as an individual, rather than pursuing my own self interests first, putting
Mm-hmm.
myself first for me is serving God.
Mm-hmm.
Others come second, my wife, my kids, people in my community.
Mm-hmm.
Then I'm third. And
Nice.
when you have that mentality of serving others, serving God, serving, and it doesn't have to be the God I believe in, but serving a higher power, having purpose,
Mm-hmm.
and an understanding that there's more important things than my ego, my own personal wants and needs,
Mm-hmm.
and finding, not just believing in that, but like truly finding joy in serving other people before yourself. Like that
Mm-hmm.
is not something I've always bought into,
Mm-hmm.
um, and lived every day. Like I remember hearing the message as a younger guy
Mm-hmm.
and thinking I did it. I volunteered occasionally, but at the end of the day, when I looked at what was I chasing, what was I working towards, it was always my own personal success,
Mm-hmm.
climbing, professional success, serving my own personal wants and needs. And I probably got a lot of it really reinforced when I had kids.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a choice now. I mean, I have to, but I guess I do have a choice. I couldn't sleep at night if I didn't I put everything into my kids,
For
and
sure.
before them, my wife, and not just her wants and needs, but like kind of the idea. Another, I guess, concept I'd want to tell them is it's not about people
Mm-hmm.
as much as a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
That's something that's pretty been impactful for me. Guy that I met told me he would ask me how my wife's doing or my marriage, and I
Mm-hmm.
always I assumed initially he was asking me how my, and I'd say, oh, she's good, she's this. But what he's really getting at is like, how is your relationship with your wife? What are you doing to set a solid foundation to make sure that relationship is solid? Are you
Mm-hmm.
putting in the time? Are you, building that relationship? So really understanding and focusing on the relationships that you have with other people, as
Mm-hmm.
well as the service side. And then I would even carry that into kind of like my faith journey on really strengthening your relationship with a higher power.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Somebody told me something about prayer. I'm big on meditation, and prayer is
Mm-hmm.
one of the ways that I meditate. But he told me that prayer is, in its simplest form, it's wasting time with God. Kind of like how an older married couple can sit with each other doing absolutely nothing,
Mm-hmm.
wasting time with each other. And I think that God wants us to waste time with him, to communicate with him, to talk to him.
Mm-hmm.
And I do that through prayer. Mostly my prayers are mostly expressions of gratitude, being thankful for, identifying things that I'm thankful for.
Mm-hmm.
I also ask, for help with things or guidance on things, and it's pretty impactful on me. So that's kind of a lot, but that's that's what I would have wanted to know
For sure.
20 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I probably wouldn't have listened, so I guess the only other thing I'd say is check out F3 Nation.
For sure.
Find
Yeah.
a local group. You're going to find
Mm-hmm.
the best free. I mean, it's like getting a free personal trainer every day,
That's a good deal.
and the mentorship. I mean, man, I've been a part of dozens of professional and like leadership development, professional development. I've learned more in F3
Mm-hmm.
from the people that I work out with about life, about business, just
Mm-hmm.
being a man, like than anything else I've done in my life.
Oh
So
wow.
I don't know, get paid or commission or anything for getting people out there because it's free, but I would say definitely check out F3 as well.
No.
And they've got like a map on their website. There's locations all around the country. It is early, and that's like the biggest thing
Mm-hmm.
I get when I tell people about it. They're like, "Oh, it's too early for me." Okay, well, that's when I was younger,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want to put in the work
Fair.
to get what I want. I knew what I wanted,
Mm-hmm.
but then when it came to actually doing it,
Mm-hmm.
um, I was like, I'll do that, next year. I'll do that when I'm older. Well, don't like. I think a lot of young people don't understand how valuable their time is,
Mm-hmm.
and I've gained a better understanding of how valuable my time is now, especially since I've had kids. But um, don't wait. You're gonna fail eventually.
Mm-hmm.
I think failure is another reason why people don't do things. But try to embrace failure. That's
Mm-hmm.
another big thing is, you learn, you can look at failure as, okay, I failed and get down on it, or you can look at it as a positive. I try to look at failure as a positive. I learned how not to do something.
Mm-hmm.
Let me try something else and keep trying, but don't give up. Don't
Mm-hmm.
don't have self-limiting beliefs. Really push yourself, and if you can't push yourself and hold yourself accountable,
Mm-hmm.
find a group of peers or something in your community that's going to hold you and push you to be a better version of yourself. Um, my football coach, I think back to what he used to tell us: if you want to run fast, you run alone, but if you want to run far, you run with stronger men.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, I used to think that was about running, but I think it's more about the idea of having a group of guys that you're close with that
Mm-hmm.
will hold you accountable, that'll push you to be not just better, but really staying true to your beliefs, and find some really solid beliefs, things that you believe in,
Mm-hmm.
and try to live to those beliefs.
Sure.
Those Find purpose, work towards that purpose, and you don't have to do it your entire life, but find something, try it.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't like it, find something else. And just don't be complacent, because I think complacency has a lot to do with kind of that isolation you were talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Um, People like to be comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
I think overall it's really easy to be comfortable, to just do the minimum and not push yourself to do as much as you possibly can. There is like a certain level you get burned out, but don't coast.
For sure.
You got. Oh, I'm not even close to on the coast yet. I've got hopefully 30 more years before I
Hey,
want to retire and
there you
coast
go.
and relax. But I don't know, man. Sometimes I see these. I was talking to my nephew the other day. He's
Mm-hmm.
18.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't even have a driver's license.
Really?
And I go, why would you not? I was like, as soon as I turned 16, I got a driver's license. I was working two jobs to buy a car.
For sure.
He goes, why would I buy a car? I could just Uber. And it,
Crazy.
it blew my mind. I
For
mean,
sure.
it's still just, I don't know, man.
Yeah.
It's different. And I
Different.
hate saying that because I'm starting to feel old, but um, I don't know, man. There's something with these young kids that
Yeah.
I just don't get.
Different times for sure. But yeah, to your point, that community would help a lot, and I think faith would help a lot for sure. And just being active and being around some guys that motivate you and push you a little further for sure. I'll be really good as well. But yeah,
One
like,
last quick thing
go ahead.
is, man, when I was younger, I didn't really have a grasp of how important having mentors in my life were.
Mm,
And I don't really, you can't just like go up and say, hey, I want you to be my mentor.
mm-hmm,
Um, but if you put yourself out there and try to interact with guys that are a little bit older than you,
mm-hmm,
maybe 10 years, 15 years older than you,
mm-hmm,
it could be older too. I particularly like 60, 70-year-old guys that, especially once they retire, it's like they have nothing else better to do. They're very active in their communities, and if you just put yourself out, try to find a group to volunteer with, or try to find a group to meet with, something that you're interested in, you're gonna naturally find somebody that may end up being a mentor to you,
mm-hmm,
that you will build. And it's about building that relationship, spending time with them,
mm-hmm,
and putting that relationship as a priority in your life, to where it hasn't be all you do, but put a little time each week into building that relationship. And over time, the dividends that's going to pay,
mm-hmm.
you never know what you're going to learn, what kind of doors it might open for you, or how they may help you in the future. And it's kind of self-serving when you look at it that way, but it's been extremely impactful in my life, having a really strong group, not just a peer group,
Mm-hmm.
my age around me, but an older group that if I am in a predicament that I don't know how to work through, that I typically ask my friends, and then I got 3 or 4 guys that are older than me that I'll call up once a month and say, hey, I'm really struggling with this. What do you think? Can I talk
Mm-hmm.
through it with? And we just go get coffee and talk through it. And 9 times out of 10, they've been through it.
Mm-hmm.
They give me advice. I usually don't listen to it. I try things my own way. But then once I've tried it my way and failed, then I'll try it their way and it usually works. So,
There you go.
I'm starting to come being more open to other people's advice. That's another big thing
For
I'm
sure.
still trying to be open to, but it's old habits die hard. So
Fair, yeah. But yeah, powerful stuff. I feel like even myself, I struggle with that. And I think when I was younger, I had even more of a tough time with that. So I feel like younger guys are maybe going through that same progression, and it definitely would help to have those older guys to lean on and pick their brains a little bit for sure. So
I
yeah.
used to think, man, when I was younger, I used to think like part of being a man was like always being right and like having it
Mm-hmm.
figured out, not needing help, just
For
being the
sure.
strongest guy
Mm-hmm.
who can do anything. It's okay not to have the answers. And I don't think it makes you weak to ask for help.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you want to constantly ask people for help all the time, but be okay with the idea that like it's okay not to be right all the time.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to be wrong, but don't get stuck. I don't know. When I was younger, I was really headstrong, like set my ways. Nobody's gonna tell me what to do, and I try not to be that way. I mean, I say that it's easier said than done because sometimes I am still pretty hard headed. But be open. Just be open. Some people don't want to help you, but if people are open to helping,
Mm-hmm.
listen, and maybe think about helping other people too, not just think about yourself. So
For sure. Nice. Good stuff. Yeah, I think that's all really good, insightful stuff for sure. So definitely, I think that'll be good for guys to hear that for sure. Any like last messages or anything you want to plug? What are you thinking?
yeah, I kind of already plugged F3.
F3, yeah, tough. I'm gonna look into that for sure.
It's it's pretty easy, other than showing up the first time.
Mm-hmm.
That is the hardest part.
Fair.
But I showed up once, and it's every day.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to be there. Nobody. It's not like high pressure. Nobody forces you into being there.
Mm-hmm.
But I saw myself progress. Initially, it was like I could only do 2 days a week,
Mm-hmm.
and then after a month, I went to 3 days a week. After 3 months, I went to 4 days a week. Right now, I'm still at about 4 days a week because if I go every day, 5, 6, sometimes 7 days a week, you got to have a recovery day in there somewhere.
For
Some guys
sure.
don't though. So, that's what blows my mind. Some of these guys that are 56, they go every day. They're getting after it.
Crazy.
And then if I go to the gym later in the day, they're there. But, um, you know, there's, I don't know how many people this is going to reach. Even if it just reaches one guy,
Mm-hmm.
I think I see a lot of younger people obsessed with like the idea. And I don't know if it's ego driven or what, but like chasing success in either fame,
Mm-hmm.
power, money. Um, I would say fame. Get rid of that. Like you ask any famous person if they like being famous,
Uh-huh.
it's not something to chase.
Fair.
Money, money's important, but there's a lot more important things than money.
Mm-hmm.
Um, really value your time, make the most of it, and try to find purpose in whatever you're doing. I mean, if you want, there's nothing wrong with working at McDonald's. I've
Mm-hmm.
worked in fast food, but if you're gonna work at McDonald's, be the best burger flipper,
Mm-hmm.
fry guy, whatever it is you're doing.
For sure.
Don't just coast. Do the best of your ability every
Mm-hmm.
day, and just try to be a little bit better. Like I'm real big on um, continuous improvement in
Mm-hmm.
my business, but also in my personal life. Japanese, I think they call it Kaizen. Um, there's different versions of it, but it's just be 1% better every day
Mm-hmm.
and continuously be accelerating, growing. If you have a growth mindset
Mm-hmm.
and you put in the time, reading, studying, working out, working your physical strength,
Mm-hmm.
um, that carries forward your entire life. And you may not see the returns day in and day out, but you will 10 years down the road, 20 years down the road. Um, Alcohol is another big one. When I
Mm-hmm.
was younger, I used to drink. I don't think I ever really had a problem with it, but I don't know, man. It's been about 4 years now.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't drink anymore. It's
Fair.
not sure. I'm sure it'd be fun, but like I got better stuff to do, and for me, it's more about like the health. Once I started reading about, I mean, I think it was 2022.
Mm-hmm.
The federal government said alcohol is a class one carcinogen.
Mm.
It used to be said doctors used to tell you could drink a little alcohol. It's actually good for you to drink a little red wine every day. They don't
Mm.
say that anymore. It's
Fair.
a known you're gonna get cancer. Don't smoke, don't
For
chew
sure.
tobacco, drugs, definitely don't touch like it's life is hard enough.
Mm-hmm.
Don't make it harder on yourself than it has to be.
For sure.
And if your goal in life is to just go out with your friends Thursday, Friday, Saturday night
Mm-hmm.
to a bar, spend a bunch of money drinking, you know,
Yeah.
maybe once in a while. Not for me. I got other things. I got kids now, so maybe that's part of it too. But
For,
man, there's so much more,
for
and
sure.
it really comes through finding purpose and serving other people. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's I know I've kind of been beating a dead horse, saying the same thing over and over, but man, that's once I started doing that in my life, I just man generally happier. I don't
For sure.
have a whole lot of stress. So, um, yeah, don't make it harder on yourself than you need to. And if you are going through hard times, I mean, it's not. I'm fortunate that I got a pretty good life. Most days I'm incredibly happy, but like, don't be afraid to also reach out to people if you are struggling. If you're having a hard time,
Mm-hmm.
there's been times in my life where I wasn't going, things weren't going well,
Mm-hmm.
and I went into kind of an isolated place. I didn't want to be around my friends. I didn't want to be around my family.
Mm-hmm.
Um, don't go down that path. And if you are, find somebody, man. Put yourself out there. Try to break out of it. And it may not happen overnight, but things do get better. And hopefully, it's what little I've read about kind of the male loneliness and male suicide
Mm-hmm.
epidemic. I mean, it's unbelievable, and it's even higher in veterans.
Mm.
But men in general, it seems like we're losing so many people.
For sure.
I look at like my graduating class.
Mm-hmm.
We got our 20-year high school reunion coming up this year.
Mm.
We had 750 kids. There's like 50 of them that are dead already, and it's
Really?
all self harm, suicide. I mean, a couple of them I think had freak medical stuff, but like
Mm-hmm.
drug overdoses or suicide. And
Wow.
it's crazy to think that so many people get to a place where they don't feel like there's something for them. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know. I don't really understand what gets you there, because I personally never really struggled with that. But
Mm-hmm.
um, you know,
Yeah.
there's help out there, and I hope people start stepping up
Mm-hmm.
and really push themselves not to be comfortable. Comfort,
For
I think,
sure.
being comfortable is not real. It's easy,
For sure.
and nothing worth doing in life is ever easy. So